Hi everybody, my name's Aaliyah and welcome to my channel, Aaliyah Uncharted. Today I'm going to be doing the Booktube Newbie Tag. I probably should have done this sooner. I've been on Booktube for about 2 months now, but I figure now's as good a time as any. So let's go ahead and get started so you guys can get to know me a little bit better. So let's go. Okay, so question 1 is, why did you start this channel? So this is probably similar to a lot of other people. I've been watching Booktube for years at this point, right? And I've always wanted to join, but never really got around to it. I've never been very high tech in terms of my hobbies. And so I was always just comfortable with just consuming, and I think now I'm just really wanting to hone in more of a bookish community. I don't have a whole lot of friends in real life who are huge readers, or at least who read similar books as I do, and I just really love to talk about books, and I don't get to do it enough. And so I was hoping by starting this channel I would get to just have more conversations with people and talk about books and have more bookish friends. That really is the main reason why I'm wanting to do this, just as a good outlet and to just have a wider bookish community in my life. I think we all need one of those. Okay, so question number 2. What are some fun or unique things you can bring to Booktube? And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure if I really like this question. I love a good, fun, creative video as much as anybody, but again, I'm kind of here just to build community and relationships with people and get to know people, and so I'm hoping people are just chill with who I am as a person and that we can talk about books together. I might not have a super unique book taste, but nobody has exactly the same reading taste, and I think that that is just enough of a different take, hopefully, to keep people interested. So I'm not trying to be anything other than who I am. I am here. I am wanting to read books and talk about them, and I hope other people are down to do the same, because that's why we're all here, I feel like. Maybe nothing super fun or unique, but hopefully I am fun and unique enough for you to stick around. All right, so question number 3. What are you most excited about for this new channel? I feel like I've kind of already answered this, but what I'm mainly excited for is to meet people and interact with people, to be able to talk about books and bounce ideas off of each other, and finally get to rant about that one character who sucks so much. You know, like, I really want that kind of conversation with people, and this is just such a wonderful community. I've loved being a part of it more as a lurker than anything else up until this point, and so that's what I'm most excited about, is to actually engage in these conversations and hopefully make some friends while doing so. That's what I'm really excited about with this whole thing. All right, question number 4. Why do you love reading? So we all love the escape of reading, right? And it's also just a fun thing to do, a way to go to new worlds and see new things and learn about people with experiences different from you. I think it's just a really great way to see the world outside of where you are, whether you use it more for escapism than anything else, or whether you use it just as a way to learn about people who are different from you. I don't know why I'm talking about it in general terms. Those are the reasons why I like it. I like being able to learn about people different from me. I like being able to learn about maybe the best way to talk to somebody who has a different life than I do. You know, I've learned a lot about people whose experiences differ a lot from mine, and I think it has only been a benefit to be able to read about it, so then I know if I were to ever encounter somebody who maybe has a similar experience to that character, that author, whomever, then I would feel a bit better equipped to respond in a good and empathetic way. I definitely use reading as a learning experience, but also it's really fun. I really love getting invested in these characters, and I love feeling so connected to both characters and to people who read about them, and knowing that we have a shared experience. That's my main thing. It's just a lot of fun. All right, question number 5. What book or series got you into reading? I don't actually know. I was thinking about this when I was writing down the questions for this tag, and I think a lot of people are going to be saying Harry Potter or Twilight for this. I definitely was a huge reader before I got into Harry Potter. I was kind of late to the Harry Potter train. I started reading Harry Potter like in 7th or 8th grade, which was pretty late for everybody in my age group because the first book came out when I was in like kindergarten. And I was a really big reader before that. Like I've always been a big reader. And so it's hard to say what actually got me into reading. I can only vaguely remember a lot of the books that I read as a kid. So, you know, Junie B. Jones was huge when I was younger. I really loved, I loved Aragon when that came out, right? I loved the Chronicles of Narnia when I was reading those when I was younger. That was great. The Books of Bayern, hold on, like the Goose Girl. Those were really big when I was younger. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I read that really got me into reading, and I'm not sure if it was a singular book or series. I just know I really loved it from a really young age. So, all right, number 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? This is just gonna be a trending theme for this whole video, but what I would just love to ask my booktubers is how you get connected in the community. Again, I've always been kind of a lurker in the community thus far. Like I've been watching Booktube for years, but I haven't been very big on actually interacting. I apologize, but I've never been really big on like commenting and stuff, even if I really enjoy a video, because most of the time I feel like I have nothing to say. So I'm curious as to how people are able to get into the community, how you're able to make these connections with people, and like what the best way to do that is. While I have a lot to learn on the technical side and in figuring all of this out, that seems to be the thing that I'm most curious about, is how do you connect to other people? You know, how do you tune in to the overall community and talk to each other? Probably Twitter, but I'm still figuring that one out. So that would probably be my biggest question, is how do you get connected? All right, question number 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be hardest to overcome? I think for this, like one of the big challenges that I've faced so far, outside of not knowing how to interact with people on Twitter, I think it really is the technical part for me. Like again, I've never been super big on making videos and learning how to use iMovie and all of that stuff. Like I never really did that until now, and so it's definitely been a bit of a learning curve, and I think that's something that is going to be a challenge as I keep going, is a lot of the technical stuff, because I'm only barely figuring out how to use iMovie and how to make a thumbnail and all of that stuff. That seems to be my biggest challenge in all of this, I think. So here's hoping I can figure it out so you guys can get a little bit better quality content from me. Question 8. When did you start reading? I think I also already kind of answered this one. So I think I started reading really, really young. Like definitely, like as soon as I could read full-length books, or probably before that, I was just always a reader. I was definitely that kid who got yelled at for reading during class in like elementary school, because they were teaching about boring stuff and my book was so much more interesting, you know? We've all been there. Yeah, so definitely like young, like elementary school at least, was when I really got into reading. I think especially once you can read on your own without having to be read by your parents, it's like the thing, right? It's like one of the things that they can't have, or that they can't have as much control over, right? It's like the first form of freedom. So yeah, definitely when I was very young. Number 9, where do you read? So I read in a couple places. I definitely read in bed most nights. I try to end the day with something good. I also read a lot of audiobooks, so I will listen to audiobooks when I go on a walk. Since quarantine started, I've been trying to go on a walk every day. Would recommend. We love the sun. So yeah, I'll listen to it when I walk, or like when I do have to drive to the grocery store, I would listen to audiobooks on my commute to work, that kind of thing. There's also a really nice chair, couch, sofa, a really nice reading chair downstairs by our window, and I really love to read there because it's really comfy, and it's the kind where you can like just snuggle up with yourself and then have a mug of tea on the arm of the chair and stuff, you know. It's a really good setup. So that's probably my favorite place to read, but I read all over. Okay, and question number 10. What kind of books do you like to read? I read kind of all kinds, but I definitely have a tendency towards contemporary books, both adult and young adult. Usually I like, not necessarily contemporary romance, although I do like some contemporary romance. I tend towards queer books, or books with LGBTQ plus characters for sure. I also like, I'm like looking at my shelves right now. I really love like magical realism and fabulism, so kind of what like light fantasy where there's like a slight magical element. So like the Raven Cycle is a favorite of mine. I also really love Anna Marie McLemore. All of their books tend to be favorites of mine, so really love those kinds of stories. I also like to read some nonfiction. Sometimes it kind of goes more towards the self-help / personal development side of things, but also I like the kind of sociology, psychology kind of books. So yeah, I think that's the majority of it as I'm looking at all of my books. So yeah, there's that. Although I do like to delve into some fantasy and sci-fi depending on how it goes. I like to try to read as broadly as I can though, because a lot of different stories and different genres have different things to say, and we're here to listen to them. Okay, so that is all the questions for today. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed having you guys get to know me a little bit better and answering these questions. So if you liked this video, please go ahead and hit that like button. And while you're down there, you could totally hit the subscribe button. That'd be pretty chill. That'd be cool. But anyway, I would love to chat with you guys, talk about books, and start to build a community here. So if you have any questions for me or anything, go ahead and throw those down into the comments. I would love to chat. Yeah, so that is it for today. I really, really appreciate you stopping by, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye. God dang it. Well, that went well.